Welcome back to all my treasure hunters and coin collectors across America and beyond. If you're someone who still checks their pocket change, listens to their gut, and believes that a simple coin could hold the power to change your entire life, you're in the right place. Because what if I told you that a humble 1972 D. Lincoln cent, yes, that little copper-colored coin you probably tossed aside decades ago, could be worth thousands of dollars today? What if that penny, sitting quietly in your old jar or drawer, held a secret, a rare error, a perfect strike, a minting mystery that only the sharpest eye can spot? In this video, we're going to peel back the layers of one of the most overlooked yet fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1972 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin. From its origins during a tense time in American history, to the shocking prices it has fetched at major auctions, to how you can tell if your coin is worth a fortune. This is one journey you don't want to miss. Let's begin our story. The year was 1972. America was deep in the Vietnam War, tensions were high, and the Watergate scandal was just beginning to brew. Amidst all the chaos, the Denver Mint quietly went about its business, striking hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a symbol of unity and endurance. But as we know, not all coins are created equal. The 1972 D. Lincoln penny may appear ordinary at first glance, copper-plated zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams, with Lincoln's stoic face on the obverse and the classic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The D. Mint mark under the date tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. Over 2.5 billion of these pennies were minted. Yes, billion, with a B. So how could such a common coin become something rare, valuable, even life-changing? Here's where the mystery deepens. While most of these coins were perfectly average, a few left the mint with mistakes, mint errors. Some were struck off-center. Others were double dies. Some had clipped planchets or die cracks. And these are the coins that collectors are willing to pay top dollar. 4.1 example of a 1972 D penny with a strong die crack running across Lincoln's bust recently sold at auction for over $350. And that's just a mild error. Another coin, struck off-center by more than 50%, with nearly half the design missing, sold for nearly $500. A coin like that stands out, and collectors want it in their cabinets. But now, let's go deeper. There are rumors, whispers even, of extremely rare 1972 D double die obverse coins, where the date, the word liberty, or the motto "I in God we trust" appears doubled. While the Philadelphia 1972 double die is more well-known, a few examples tied to the Denver Mint have made headlines. These are the coins that can sell for thousands, if certified by a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. Imagine having one of these coins in your hand, turning it over in the light, and realizing it's not like the others. In one case, a sharply struck 1972 D penny with both a strong die clash and doubling error sold for over $1,200. And that wasn't even in perfect condition. That coin had visible wear, but the error made it a prize. But it's not just about errors. High-grade examples, pennies that were never circulated, that remained untouched for decades, can be worth a small fortune too. These are called mint state coins, often labeled MS-65, MS-66, even MS-67. And let me tell you, if you have a 1972 D penny graded MS-67 read by PCGS, you could be sitting on a coin worth over $2,000. Yes, $2,000. For a single penny. But here's the catch. Only a handful exist at that quality. Out of the 2.5 billion struck, fewer than a few dozen have been graded that high. That's what makes them so valuable. That's what keeps collectors hunting. And what about proof-like strikes or coins with unusual toning? That rainbow shimmer that sometimes appears on old copper coins? Collectors love those too. Some people have sold beautifully toned 1972 D. Lincoln cents for $300 to $800 just for the color. Now, you may be wondering, how do I know if my 1972 D penny is one of these rare gems? Here's what you need to do. Step 1. Examine your coin closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for doubling on the lettering and date. Check the edges. Look for off-center strikes, cracks, or any signs of unusual marks. Step 2. Check the color and condition. Is your coin bright red, with full original luster? Or is it brown and worn? Red coins in mint condition are worth more. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's beard and the lines in the memorial. Step 3. Get it graded. If you think your coin might be special, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. It's worth the investment. A coin graded MS67 red can turn your penny into thousands of dollars. And finally, step 4. Don't assume your coin is worthless just because it's old. The coin market is changing. Collectors are getting smarter, and rare varieties are being discovered all the time. What slipped past in the 1970s is now being caught by sharp eyes like yours. So, let me ask you this. Have you checked your change jar lately? Because somewhere, out there in an old dresser, a dusty coin album, or even a forgotten piggy bank, someone has a 1972 deep penny that could unlock a small fortune. Maybe that someone is you. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but its true value could change your life. Imagine this. You're digging through an old coffee can full of pennies. Dusty, forgotten, decades old. You pull out a copper-colored coin. The date reads 1974, and just below it, a small D mark, Denver Mint. Your heart skips a beat. Could this be the one? Could you be holding a piece of American history, worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? You'd be surprised just how many people have overlooked this coin. The 1974 D. Lincoln penny. Yes, that tiny copper disc with Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile could be sitting in your jar of change, quietly waiting to make you rich. Let's start with the history. The year was 1974. America was at a turning point. Gas lines, inflation, and economic uncertainty were everywhere. To combat rising costs, the U.S. Mint began experimenting. They were under pressure to find a cheaper metal for the penny because copper prices were skyrocketing. And that's where the mystery of the 1974 penny begins. Most 1974 D. Lincoln cents were made from a 95% copper, 5% zinc alloy, standard at the time. But a few experimental versions were struck on aluminum planchets. And although these aluminum pennies were never released into circulation, the rumor is that some still exist out there somewhere. If you ever find a 1974 D penny that feels unusually light, don't spend it, test it. Because those aluminum versions, they've been valued at over $250,000. That's right, nearly $250,000 for a single cent, even without the aluminum mystery. Certain 1974 D. Lincoln pennies have fetched shocking prices due to condition, striking errors, and rare die varieties. Let's break it down. First, the high-grade regular strike. A 1974 D. Lincoln penny in uncirculated condition, especially graded MS67 red, RD, has sold for upwards of $4,000 at major auctions. Why? Because high-grade specimens are extremely rare. Most coins from that era were mass-produced, tossed into pockets, scraped across vending machines, and worn down. To find one preserved perfectly over 50 years? That's almost like finding buried treasure. Now let's talk about errors, the holy grail for collectors. The 1974 D. Lincoln penny is notorious for a variety of fascinating mint errors, double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, BI errors, where a tiny die break between the B and E in Liberty looks like the letter I. These coins have sold for $1.50, $200, even over $1,000, depending on the rarity and clarity of the error. And here's the kicker. Many of these errors are only noticeable under close inspection, meaning you could have one right now and not even know it. Point 1 Denver minted penny with a dramatic off-center strike, where more than half of Lincoln's head was missing, fetched $875 at auction. Another 1974 D penny with a strong die clash, where the reverse design left an imprint on the front, sold for $620. Now, let's talk current market value. If your 1974 D penny is circulated with typical wear, it's generally worth between 2 to 5 cents due to the copper content alone. Still more than face value, but not life-changing. However, if it's in mint state, especially with that brilliant red luster untouched by time, collectors are willing to pay top dollar. As of 2025, auction data shows that MS66 examples sell for $30 to $75. MS67 examples, especially certified by PCGS or NGC, are reaching $500 to $1,000, and in rare cases, more. But it doesn't stop there if your coin has an error. If it has a double die, off-center strike, or die break, those add layers of rarity and value that can push the price well into the hundreds or thousands. And don't forget about eye appeal. Coins with perfect centering, strong strikes, and no spots or discoloration always attract bidding wars. So, what should you do? First, check the date and mint mark. Make sure it says 1974. Second, examine the coin closely. Use a magnifier. Look for doubling in the lettering or date. Look for cracks, cuds, or off-center features. Third, weigh it. A normal copper 1974 D penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's dramatically lighter, around 0.93 grams, you might be holding one of the rare experimental aluminum cents. In that case, you must get it authenticated. Do not clean it. Do not try to improve its appearance. Cleaning a rare coin can reduce its value instantly. Fourth, get it graded. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can determine its condition, certify it, and add credibility that collectors pay for. Now here's the final twist in the story. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might be hiding in your very own change jar, the 1974 Lincoln 1-cent penny. Don't scroll away, because what you're about to hear may shock you. This tiny, copper-colored coin could be worth thousands of dollars, and most people don't even realize they're holding onto gold disguised as copper. Imagine this. You're cleaning out your drawer. Dust, receipts, old keys, and there it is. A penny. Brown, worn, ordinary. You almost toss it away. But wait, it's dated 1974. And right there, you could be holding a treasure, a forgotten relic of American history, and a coin that some collectors would pay hundreds, even thousands of dollars for. Now let's go back in time. The year was 1974. Richard Nixon was president. The Watergate scandal was about to shake the nation. Gas was 55 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint? It was struggling with the rising cost of copper. You see, by the early 70s, it was becoming too expensive to keep producing pennies using nearly pure copper. That's when something extraordinary happened, something that turned an everyday coin into one of the most talked about rarities in American numismatic history. The Mint started experimenting. They created trial strikes using aluminum instead of copper. Yes, you heard that right. Aluminum pennies were created in 1974. Only about 1.5 million of these experimental aluminum pennies were minted, mostly at the Philadelphia Mint. But most were recalled and destroyed before ever seeing the light of day. Today, only a handful are rumored to still exist, and those few are worth over $250,000. Yes, $250,000, if they can be legally owned. But that's just the beginning. Even the regular copper 1974 Lincoln pennies can be valuable, depending on their mint mark, condition, and rare die errors. So before you toss that penny, you need to know what to look for. Let's break it down. The 1974 Lincoln penny was struck in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin does not have a mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. These are the most common, but even these can be worth money. In pristine MS, 67 plus red condition, a Philadelphia 1974 penny can fetch between $300 and $500 at auction. That's right. A single cent that's still worth less than $1 to most people could secretly hold the value of a monthly utility bill. Next is the 1974 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint. These are also relatively common in circulation, but gem-quality examples can bring $200 to $400 or more, especially if they show full original red luster and no signs of handling or wear. Now here's where things get interesting. The 1974 S-proof penny, minted in San Francisco, was never meant for general circulation. It was part of special collector's sets. But because it was struck using highly polished dies and specially prepared blanks, the details are razor-sharp, the shine is mirror-like, and the value? It can climb to $1,000 or more in perfect PR70 condition. One of these coins even sold for over $1,500 at auction. But the real treasures are the errors and varieties. Some 1974 Lincoln pennies were struck using doubled dies, where the design appears to be doubled due to misalignment during the minting process. These doubled die errors can show up in the date, the word liberty, or the famous motto, "I in God we trust." If you see clear doubling under magnification, don't wait. You could be holding a coin worth $500 to $2,000 depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the coin's design is shifted too far in one direction. Some of these can bring in $100 to $500 or more. And if the coin is missing parts of its rim or has other dramatic mint errors like clipped planchets or broad strikes, you're looking at potentially huge collector demand. Now, let's talk about color, because not all pennies are created equal. Collectors divide coins into three color categories: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red, RD. The redder the coin, the more valuable it tends to be. A red, RD, 1974 penny that has been untouched and preserved in mint condition can triple or quadruple in value compared to the same coin in brown. And now, let's revisit the aluminum mystery. If, by some miracle, you come across a 1974 penny that's lighter than usual, weighing about 0.93 grams instead of the standard 3.11 grams, do not spend it, do not clean it, and definitely do not give it away. You may have found one of the extremely rare aluminum experimental strikes. These coins are technically government property, but their existence is a stuff of legend. In 2014, one aluminum 1974 D penny surfaced and created headlines. It was set to be auctioned for $250,000, but was pulled due to legal issues. Its fate? Unknown. But if another one shows up in the wild, it could be worth even more. So what should you do? First, check your coins. Look for the date 1974. Look at the mint mark. Is it D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or blank for Philadelphia? Examine the condition. Is the coin shiny and red, or brown and dull? Use a magnifier to check for doubling, and weigh the coin if possible. Even small differences in thickness or color could mean big bucks. And if you think you've got something special, don't sell it right away. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Having your coin officially graded and certified can skyrocket its value and protect your investment. In today's market, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. With inflation rising and people seeking tangible assets, rare coins like the 1974 Lincoln penny are gaining more attention than ever before. Whether you're sitting on a common penny worth a few dollars, or one of those once-in-a-lifetime mint errors, your change jar could be your next jackpot. The next time you find an old penny in your pocket or under your couch cushion, don't ignore it. Don't throw it aside. That 1-cent coin might just be the most valuable thing you own, because sometimes the key to a completely new lifestyle is hiding in plain sight. Keep hunting, keep collecting, keep dreaming, and remember, treasure is out there. You just have to know where to look. Today we are diving deep 1972 D. Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Yes, we're talking about a 1973 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny. It's not silver. It's not gold. But it's made of something far more powerful: history, rarity, and hidden value. This ordinary-looking penny from over 50 years ago hides secrets that only the most watchful collectors and expert graders can uncover. And today, we're going to take you deep into its world. Stay right here, because the story we're about to tell might just change the way you look at every single penny in your pocket. But let's begin. The year was 1973. The United States was changing. The Vietnam War was nearing its end, inflation was rising, and the American public was trying to make sense of a new economic reality. Amidst all this, the Denver Mint was hard at work, churning out millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies, each one bearing the famous side profile of President Abraham Lincoln and the D mint mark just below the date. In total, over 3.5 billion 1973 D pennies were struck. That's right, billions. How could a coin so common be worth anything more than a single cent? That's where the story gets interesting, because hidden within those billions are rare errors, high-grade survivors, and untouched, brilliant specimens that collectors today are willing to pay shocking amounts of money to own. Let's talk value. Starting with the highest first, in January 2023, a 1973 D. Lincoln penny in nearly perfect condition, graded MS67 red by PCGS, sold for $3,995 at auction. Let that sink in. 0.1 cent, turned into nearly $4,000. Why? Because coins in that grade are ultra rare. Out of the billions minted, Only a tiny handful have survived without any contact marks, scratches, or loss of luster. These coins shine with a deep red, copper brilliance. They look like they just left the mint yesterday, despite being over 5 decades old. Collectors call these red coins. They're the highest color grade, and when combined with a top-tier strike like MS-66 or MS-67, the value explodes. But the story doesn't stop there. There are also valuable error coins. Have you ever seen a penny that looks off-centered? Or one that appears double-struck, with shadows of numbers or letters appearing twice? That could be a mint error, and mint errors from the 1970s are highly collectible, especially if the coin is in good condition and the error is dramatic. For the 1973 D penny, look for things like off-center strikes, double dies, especially on In God We Trust or Liberty. Clipped planchets, die cracks, or cuds. Some of these error coins have sold for $150 to $500, depending on the clarity and condition of the mistake. The more dramatic the error and the more intact the coin, the more it can be worth. Now imagine this, that you're sitting at home. You pull out an old jar of coins, and there it is, a 1973 D Lincoln penny. You turn it in the light. The color is deep red. The shine? Almost mirror-like. You check the mint mark. You see no scratches, no dings. You just might be holding onto a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and you didn't even know it. Now let's talk about grading that. If you think you have a valuable 1973 D penny, the next step is to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Why? Because collectors trust certified coins. A coin graded MS-66 or MS-67 red will fetch far more money than one ungraded. Even if both look great, the top auction prices always go to slabbed coins, those encased in protective plastic holders with an official grade from one of the top agencies. Here's the value breakdown for graded coins in today's market. MS-60 red, $5, $10. MS-63 red, $15, $25. MS-65 red, $40, $85. MS-66 red, $150, $300. MS-67 red, $2,000, $4,000 plus. And if you find an error coin with one of these grades, the value could go even higher. That's why you should never ignore even a single penny from the 1970s. Let's talk about how to identify the right coin. Start with the basics. The date must be 1973. The mint mark must be D. For Denver, look closely for color. Is it full red, reddish brown, or dull brown? Is the surface shiny or scratched? Use a magnifier to check for doubling in the letters or numbers. Look at the edges. Are they smooth, or is there a clip? Don't clean the coin. That can reduce its value instantly. Collectors prefer natural patina, even if it looks dull. And here's a little-known secret. Sometimes, coins from mint sets or uncirculated rolls have the highest chance of reaching those MS-66 or MS-67 grades. If your grandparents ever gave you a mint set from the 70s, or you bought a roll of unsearched pennies online, you could be sitting on a gold mine without realizing it. Now let's come to the current market value in 2025. The demand for vintage Lincoln cents, especially those with high grades or mint errors, is skyrocketing. More collectors are entering the market. Boomers are passing down coin collections to younger generations. And social media has made coin collecting more popular than ever before. Because of this demand, a normal circulated 1973 D penny is still only worth face value. 1 cent. A lightly circulated red-brown coin might bring 10 cents to $1.00. An uncirculated red coin can bring $10 to $1.50 high. Grade slabbed coins are commanding hundreds to thousands. Major errors continue to bring in $100 to $500 or more. That's the magic of coin collecting. A penny is never just a penny.